Alrighty. I don't know if this video's going up in time. Maybe going up on Sunday. I don't know. Because I gotta head out in like a few minutes, and I am very tired. I actually just got done recording a lavalier, wireless lavalier microphone kit, which I'm not ready to show off yet, because I haven't even edited the video. Haven't even started editing the video. Actually, I had to record it twice, because the first time was a failure. But I am here to share some voiceover wisdom as best as I can. First off, let me just say thank you to everyone who has messaged me, emailed me, and contacted me on various social media that has appreciated this channel and what I do. And there's been so many people that have, said that, this channel is a huge boost for them getting into voiceover and the questions that I answer. But a good chunk of that is actually because of y'all, the regular subscribers and the viewers and the commenters, because most of the videos that and the topics that I cover are actually because of y'all, because of questions that y'all present, because of emails that I get, and because of the people that I coach. So a good chunk of that, I wouldn't even know to answer these questions until y'all present them to me. And every now and then people actually correct some of the stuff that I say, and I also appreciate that. I mean, voiceover is still kind of a Wild West kind of thing. And I know a lot of people wish that it wasn't. A lot of, especially professional, big industry voice actors really wish that it wasn't still this kind of dog-eat-dog, cattle call, everyone for themselves, rules out the window kind of industry. But it still kind of is. And that's actually the thing that I wanted to talk about. I actually had on the agenda to actually cover this topic before, but then I saw that Bill DeWeese actually kind of mentioned this, and he actually gave an analogy that was perfect, and I'm giving him full credit, full props for this. And it was actually when talking about the pricing in the industry, like why it's okay that there are voice actors who work on Fiverr and charge sub-industry rates. And I agree that there are, we can't all charge industry professional rates. And I know there's so many voice actors out there, big voice actors that think that we are crapping on the industry and ruining the industry by charging less than industry rates. But as Bill DeWeese has basically put it, I'm not quoting him exactly, he said something along these lines, was that a teenager getting their first day job working at like McDonald's and, working at or fast food or wherever, you're not going to be making the same that the manager of that store or the franchise owner of that store is going to be making, or any kind of head of the CEO of some company is going to be making. Every single job out there, there's tiers. There are, based on your experience and based on your, professional, the years that you've been in the industry and how many projects you've done and how well you can basically back up your own skills with your resume depends on where you fit in the tier. And that was the best way of putting it. If you look at any other industry, if you work at any other job, there's a minimum that everyone, there's a minimum across the board. Every single company, every single job, every single industry, every single what have you has a minimum. And then there's, sky's the limit for the maximum. And if you think about it in those terms, and then you think about all these voice actors going, everyone should be, charging industry rates. Think about that. Think of like Jeff Bezos saying that everyone should be making what he's making. Everyone should charge what he charges. Everyone should be making, a year the same that he makes. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. He would never say that. That's dumb. The reason that a lot of big-time voice actors actually say that, one of the reasons is that, yes, it is partly because this can affect and water down the industry. I'll get to why it's not. But it's also that then they're not being undercut. They don't want to be undercut because some companies will actually settle for people that are good enough, but that are more affordable. And if there are tons of people that are basically almost as skilled as they are, but charge way less, they're of course going to get more work than the big industry professional voice actors. And that's one of the reasons that they want everyone to charge the same. Because then it comes down to, because if everyone's charging the same, then obviously, yeah, you're going to go with the guy who has more years of experience, the better resume, who's, literally the better actor because he's been doing it longer. But if it comes down to where, it's a mix and match, skill, resume, demo, price, more factors, then there's more ways that they can lose out on jobs and opportunity. Now, let me say this. That kind of stuff does affect the industry, or rather, did affect the industry. That kind of stuff did affect the voiceover industry a long time ago. By a long time ago, I mean between 10 and 5 years. In that period, when things like Voices.com, Voice123, Fiverr, all that kind of stuff just came out, they were actually doing damage to the industry. I can say that for sure, absolutely, there was harm being done on both sides. There was this false idea that people creating a product or needing voice actors had when it came to the quality and when it came to what they were getting for the price. There was this idea of like, oh, well, anyone can do it now. Why has it got to be charged so much? Why do we have to pay so much? I can just get literally anybody. A mic's a mic, right? Anyone's got a mic. Nobody knew, and a lot of people still don't know, what actually goes into high-quality audio and a good performance. It's not just if you own a mic and can read. Those are important, sure, but those are very, very minimum. Those are literally just, the doormat to, in front of the door. That's not even getting through the door. That's the doormat at the door. Yes, those are important, but, there's so much more to actually get your foot in to the industry. And, Fiverr had a lot of people that were, charging just $5 and they'll record anything, just had a headset mic. And there were some companies, reputable, people with, people that were recognized and people that were pretty big companies that were actually going for some of these very low on the totem pole, bottom of the barrel voice actors. Did that hurt the industry? Kind of, yes. Not the industry. There are two different terms when it comes to industry. One is the industry as in the profession, voiceover as a whole umbrella, everything underneath the term voiceover. That is the industry. And then there's the industry, which are the companies that basically get to decide what voice actor gets the role, what unions and prices. I guess the industry would be more the unions, would be more Hollywood, would be the studios, would be the big-time voice actors who've been doing this for a long time. And then the industry is the umbrella that covers all of voiceover. That also includes telephony, phone messaging, audiobook, stuff like that. But when a lot of these voice actors say that it's watering down the industry, they're not talking about affecting audiobooks. They don't care about audiobooks. Phone messaging, they don't care about that. Doing, small spoof videos on YouTube. They don't care about that either. App games, they normally don't give a crap about that kind of stuff. what they actually mean is the bigger companies, the bigger studios. And there was actually a period when big studios, and I think it is going to start kind of leaning more in that direction as well, were actually, just going with whoever they could hire rather than going through the agents, the managers, the union, and then getting the voice actors and charging thousands and thousands. They're like, well, we'll just go to this one guy who's as good an actor as you, and we'll just pay him directly whatever he thinks is fair. Did that affect the industry, as in the union and the big voice actors? Yes, it did. Did that ruin the industry, as in voiceover? No, it didn't. It didn't ruin voiceover as an all-encompassing service. It didn't affect that. It affected the industry, as in the union and the big-time voice actors, because a lot of them have been used to the same rates, the same prices, the same system, the same way of getting work, the same way of negotiating work, and all this kind of stuff for what feels like 1,000 years, probably only hundreds. And then now everything's digital, and a lot of rethinking stuff had to be done. I mean, here's a prime example of how I know that the industry has been affected. A lot of people have been dodging the union. A lot of people have been avoiding joining the union. I'm one of them. It's not that I hate the union necessarily. I don't see any reason for me to join the union. It's not like it would open up new avenues for me. If I had a manager and a whole bunch of agents that were trying to get me bigger projects, with Warner Brothers, Disney, what have you, then I would join the union. But right now, considering I just work directly with clients and a lot of them are overseas, and, joining the union doesn't mean anything. All it would do is just take money away from me. That's all it would do. And it would actually limit the kinds of projects that I could work on. Well, recently, they have been trying to adjust the union slightly, in the sense that they're kind of getting rid of some of the rules as far as what you can and cannot work on as part of the union. Before, you couldn't work on independent small projects. You couldn't do small studio work. Well, now they've kind of opened it up where you can. Weird. Interesting how that changed. And they're focusing on making it where instead of being thousands a month, it's like 50 a month, something like that. I don't have the exact numbers and quotes of what they've changed it to in front of me, but they made a huge drastic change in what you'd be paying as far as your monthly dues to try to encourage more people to join. The reason that they had to do this is because the industry, voiceover, and the industry, them have changed. And I think that they are kind of meeting somewhere in the middle. I don't know if this means that industry rates are going to change. I don't know if industry rates are actually going to change. Highly doubt that they will. I think they'll probably keep their numbers where they are, where they've always been. But after talking to a lot of professionals, when they gripe and complain about people, affecting the price and the rates of the industry, when you actually talk to them and really find out what areas of voiceover have set in stone rates, it's really only like 2 areas. And that is broadcast television, which, still goes to the internet and goes to things like Netflix and Hulu or whatever, or HBO Max and stuff like that, and film. There are kind of set in stone rates when it comes to radio as well, but ultimately, that's it. Even when it comes to anime, something that you'd think is kind of a big deal, the rates there are kind of up in the air and kind of crazy, which, makes me kind of wonder why there's so, dubbing in anime has never paid a lot anyway. Why do big voice actors try to stop people who are okay with making that money from getting into anime and doing dubbing when they don't even, they don't like how little they're making anyway? If you don't like how little you're making, why are you trying to keep people who would be okay doing that work out of that part of the industry? That doesn't make any sense. You don't even want to do anime dubbing. Y'all told me. Big voice actors don't like doing anime dubbing because it doesn't pay enough, and there's like, oh, it's so much work. And I'm like, I would love to do that. I would have no problem with it. I'm sure some of the rates for doing anime is a bit subpar, a bit below what I would normally charge, but it's not so far that I would be like, oh man, I wish you'd pay me more. I'm not gonna gripe over it as long as I'm having fun and I get like a good character and some good acting and something to sink my teeth into. I can record in my own studio. There's so many studios that now, where they're like, if you have Source Connect, totally fine. Connect with us, and then we'll work something out. It's weird that I think the whole goal, I'm kind of going on tangents, partly because of my migraine. There are areas of voiceover that pay less, that everyone can agree pay less. And there are areas that have no set stone rates. And then there are areas that have industry rates. If you're working with Disney, Warner Brothers, big studios, they have industry rates. Anything below that, it's kind of the Wild West. It's kind of, it's open season. And if you think that you fit in this particular area, now, I still encourage everyone to reevaluate what they charge. Every single time. Always reevaluate what you charge. Is what you're charging fair for both you and your clients? You always have to think about that. Don't charge too little. Sure, you'll be getting tons of work, but it won't be worth it. You won't be able to save up to get more coaching, to buy, to get better demos, to build up your space, to quit the day job. You won't be able to do any of that. But you do want to have something that's fair for both you and your client that reflects the service you actually provide. And a lot of that is just going to be self-reflection, not necessarily comparing yourself to other voice actors, but there's going to be a little bit of comparing yourself to other voice actors. Like, okay, I feel like me and these people are kind of on the same level. We've done a lot of the same kinds of work. We're in the same kind of ballpark. If they're charging about this, I can probably charge pretty much the same. That's one way of doing it. I would say that's one way of accurately evaluating yourself. If you're like me and you don't really think too highly of your own skills, you kind of have to have other people tell you that you're worth more than you actually are. Because, there's some clients that I'm like, I think I'm charging too much. But then, I have to think more rationally and go, no, this is exactly what I should be charging. Otherwise, these lights don't stay on and I don't do any more work. So there's just a whole bunch of evaluation, but everyone is going to be in their own tier. The whole point of this video, which, my God, I've been crazy and off topic, is it's okay to be in a low tier as far as your pricing. It is okay. If you're first starting out and it's okay to not charge industry standard rates. That's what I'm trying to say. We all start somewhere, and if you're just starting out and you're basically, as I mentioned very early on, Bill DeWeese used the analogy of fast food, you're going to be in the bottom tier, of rates and voiceover, and that's fine. You always have to start at a low tier, and then work your way up. Here's one of the reasons why, and I'm trying to wrap this up, trying to get to a point. I've actually talked to a lot of people who are big actors, relatively big actors, a lot more acting credit than I do. Their resume is much longer. The IMDb is, basically laughs at mine. And they've tried getting into voiceover, but they don't understand why they're not getting any work. And after evaluating their situation and, asking them what they charge and the quality of their demo, their quality of their demo is normally subpar. They have no ear for what a demo should sound like because they haven't really been doing this. And then they have nothing to their name. They have no credits. They have no resume of voice acting. But then they still try charging industry standard rates. And we're talking the union rates. And then they're like, I'm not getting any work. Of course not. Of course you're not going to get any work. Of course you're not going to get any work when you have nothing to your name, no experience in voiceover. Your resume is subpar. You are not showcasing what you could bring to voiceover, and then you're trying to charge industry standard rates. You're trying to put yourself on the same playing field as people who have tons of experience and tons to show for it. And you can't compete with that. You absolutely cannot compete with that. What you need to do is find yourself in the tier of both skill, resume, and experience, what have you, with people that you can compete with. Even though you're not technically competing with other voice actors, you're competing with other voice actors. And you need to be in that tier. Even if you charge more for acting than you would for voice acting, that's fine. You have to start somewhere. You could be a huge actor. As long as you're not like an A-list or B-list or C-list actor, if you're like, you've been in tons of movies, constantly on Netflix or whatever, if you're just getting into voiceover and you have no experience, do not expect to be making the same amount of money that you would, or same level of money that you would doing voice acting as well. You have nothing to your name. Do not expect to be in that tier. Expect to start at ground zero. If you rapidly move up, totally fine. Totally fine. It's totally good. I've said multiple times about working on burner projects where you're kind of not making any money or possibly making zero money, just gaining experience. So if you're doing your first audiobook, don't expect to make any money. Doing your first cartoon, don't expect to make any money. Doing your first video game, don't expect to make any money. But then after that, you now have a little bit more experience. You know what to expect. So you've been doing this for a while, so now you can start, reevaluating how much should I charge, all this kind of stuff. But your first one is basically just going to be burner project or for free. And then after that, then you can start charging. But again, you have to put yourself in a realistic tier. I might, at some point in time, put together an actual tier of, how much you should expect to make, but that's kind of complicated. The point is, you have to do a lot of self-evaluating, and if you're new to voiceover, you cannot charge industry standard rates, period. I don't care if you're part of the union, you have an agent and a manager, unless they're getting you the work. If they're getting you the work, they're negotiating the rates for you, and you're just doing the audition. That's fine. If you're trying to go out there and get the work, and it's not through an agent, not through a manager, no, you can't charge industry standard rates. You don't have to charge $5. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to charge that. But you have to charge something that's fair for the level of zero experience that you're starting out with, and then work your way up. That's it. That's what I got. Hope that was helpful. I'm tired of looking at these lights. My brain hurts so bad right now. I am about to go die and almost throw up because of how much my head hurts. But hopefully I can get this video up to you guys before too long. It's starting to thunder again. So before the power goes out, I need to hurry up and finish this up. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new. Bell for notifications. And leave down in the comments section below. I'd like to see me talk about any other topic. Ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer. Email me if you need specific help. I'll do what I can. And maybe one of these days I'll take my videos and edit them down into more coherent coherent thoughts, but I'll probably revisit this topic later on with notes. I'll probably do that. So, yeah. And that's going to be it. So until next time, peace.